Good morning. My name is Bob Peterson with 4A Corporation. We want to show you some tips and tricks on getting the most out of your HVS switchers. We have a lot of interest right now in how to merge social media along with video production equipment. So that's what we're going to look at today using Zoom coming into a HVS-100 switcher. All right, so here we have a HVS-100 switcher. We have it connected to a Chrome browser to be able to use the web interface. We have Zoom meeting with two people, me and myself, coming in here as an input to the switcher. And so we're going to use two keyers, and those two keyers we're going to strip the Zoom meeting into two halves. So if we go into keyer number 1, and in keyer number 1, set the insert to a full key and the source being Zoom. Okay. So if I put that on air, then you see this. And so obviously we need to strip this back. So in our position and size menu, turn on the 2D DVE and then go down to our cropping menu. And in the cropping menu, it works by percentage. So if I want to crop on top 25% and bottom 25%, and we'll keep the left side and we'll crop out the right side, we'll take 50% off the right side. So now we're left with a single image from our Zoom input. So on the joystick control, you have a positioner, and I can position this window anywhere I want, and then go on and do the second of the two keyers. So to do another key side by side, we go into key 2, insert and source, full key, insert Zoom, down into position and size, DVE on, cropping. So again, look at the full key, top 25%, bottom 25%. This time we'll do left 50%. And there is our key 2 positioning. If I bring on both keyers, now I have the two are actually over the top of one another, so I'm positioning key 2. Key 2 is always going to be the key that's on top on the HVS-100. If I switch to key 1, I can position that. So then I have my two side-by-side keys. So those keys then can be on and off like so. You can have them in the same position if you want to have them just replace one another. Or you can use an event to do this. So to start with, though, let's do some more cropping on this image, because we have a lot of dead space that we don't want to have. So back into key 1, position and size menu, down to cropping. So let's take an additional 10% off of the left side, and we'll take an additional 10% off of the right side. And then we'll go to key 2. We'll do the same thing, down to cropping menu, and we'll take another 10% off of right and another 10% off of left. So now I've got my two images. So this lets me run my images a lot larger than they were. And I can do this either by cursor, joystick, or I can do it by the menu, whichever one I want to do. So what we have now is okay, and if I want to swap back and forth between people, though I might want to carry that a little further, let's take and put the 2 in the upper corner. Put key 2 in the same spot. We'll just overlap the 2 of them. Okay. Now I've got key 1 and key 2 are both on. If I take them both off, then I have my background video only. So there's my background. And I bring on key 1, it looks like this. And I can just hit both buttons and switch over to key 2. Or I can use my next transition group. So in next transition, it says background, key 1, key 2. So if I have all 3 of those buttons enabled, then it's going to switch the background, and it's going to switch key 1 and 2. So right now, key 2 is on air, and if I cut, key 1 is on air in the same location as key 2. And if I preset a different background, then I can go from key 1 over one background to key 2 over a different background. To follow along with your conversation. And anytime you want to put the second one on, you can do it here from the keyer control as well. But if I want to take that to that next step then, where I use my event storage, then I would go into events, and in the event, go to store. But now I need something to store, so I need to set up the look that I want. So I want to have, in this look, I want to have key 1 on over a background. All right. So in my menu, I'm going to select all, turn off all data, so I don't remember any layers. Then I'm going to go to key 1, turn that on, and key 2, and turn that on. Okay. So now I'm going to save the position and data for both key 1 and key 2. I'm not saving the background bus because I just want the keyer template. If you had this over background, if you wanted to add the background, of course you can. So let's put those in a event memory. Okay. And then we're going to change that, and I'm going to have key 2 on and key 1 off. And I'm going to go back to my event. All layers off. Key 1 on, key 2 on, and store that to an event register. So now when I recall this event, I get that. When I recall this event, I get this. But let's say you wanted to do something a little fancier with motion. I can add a duration to these events as well. So let's start out with our key 1. Get them both on here so we can see them. Key 1, I'm going to slide that off. Key 2, I'm going to make this key 2 much larger. And position it here. Key 1 then, let's get key 1, we'll just do this a little different. We'll put key 1 as a smaller window to the left of it. Okay. All right, so now that's our next position. So we go into our event, and again, all layers off. Key 1 layer on, key 2 layer on, and we'll save this as a new event. Okay. Then let's change that up so we can have key 1 go to a very large window. Okay. And key 2, we'll make that the small window, and we'll put it over on this side. Okay. And now we'll store that. We'll put a duration of 15 frames on that. And remember to set your data correctly so that you don't recall too many layers. Okay. And we'll save that here. Okay. So now if I recall my previous one, I get this, and if I recall my next one, I get this. So we like the motion on there. We'd like to have it on the first one. So let's recall the first one. Okay. And then we're going to save it again. All off, key 1 on, key 2 on, and a duration rate of 15. And save it on top of the previous event, which goes orange, so I have to overwrite it. So now I have this event and this event. So you can do any combination of off-screen and on-screen on these. You can go to a previous event that you saved as well, just by going to that there. And I have even more. I have one that I saved from before that was a 2-box that goes to a 1-box or the other 1-box. So events are just keyframes that are done with an ending frame. And the duration is just the movement going from the previous frame to the next frame. We can see this a little better perhaps over here on the screen. So you can see here I had some events that I had previously stored. And so those previous events are here. You can see there's a left box, a 2-box, a right box. Here's the new events that we saved. So this new event I can call this one, I'll give it a name of key 1, and execute that. And key 1, execute. And then the next one, we'll just call that key 2. Execute. Okay. So now on this screen, you have your named events. And also, it shows you what event layers are turned on. So I look at left box, it's key 1, 2. So these are all displaying the layers that are used for each one, and you can operate it from here too. I could recall this as just by doing it from here. So get out here, we can see again. So if I recall it from here, 2-box, left box, right box. You can do your store from here, from this screen as well. If I go to the store mode, then I see all of the layers that I have lit up, and I can turn them all off and turn on just the ones I want, and set the duration of frames that I want here, and then save it to an empty position. As you see, you've got 9 pages to work with here. So there's plenty of room to put them. Now, if you want to take it to a little bit more step, you can come into our user buttons. And in the user buttons, you'll see you've got 8 user buttons, and you can assign any of the first 10 events to the user buttons. So that gives you another way to handle that. For that, you just go into the user button menu, go to the panel menu, under user button, and the button that you're selecting to operate on is flashing. So if I go down here to button 7, for instance, it says none right now, and I turn that to other and change it to recall event 4, for instance. So now 7 will recall event 4, and there's our event 4. Okay. So just a little taste. Work with the system. Try it out. It's got a lot of capability. One final thing about using this with inputs that are not video inputs is that we have a feature called proc amp. It's on our input menu, and proc amp lets me adjust the white and black levels of our inputs, input by input basis. So if I look at this Zoom screen coming in, right now I have the proc amp enabled. So with the proc amp off, this is the image coming from the Zoom system. If I turn it on, I can adjust the black levels. I can crush the blacks, and I can adjust the luminance level. And then I can go into the chroma gain if it's as typically unsaturated. I can even change the hue, and I can hold them down and it will change those to default again. All right, so that allows you to richen up the video input from your Zoom input. It's input by input basis, so easily set. All right, so give that a try and see where that takes you. You have any questions, feel free to give me a call. All right, thanks a lot. Bye.